Hi.
Hi.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Emily.
Welcome to our podcast, What the Flock, about our lovely little yarn shop in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's a bit miserable in Christchurch, New Zealand today, but we're hanging in there.
But we are dopa knitting, which is what I am now calling the way that I'm approaching my knitting. Dopa knitting.
Yeah.
I think I was mostly inspired by you, and we're going to talk about that as we get into it, which is good news. The construction across the street is much less stressful today because the weather is miserable. I feel like people could die, as opposed to the other day when they were driving scissor lifts balanced on I-beams. Just remember that one, everyone.
My favorite is watching them drop things and just kind of like look over and see if
anyone's
nut
dead.
anyone at the bottom.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, we'll find out. Anyway, if you enjoyed that introduction, please go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and click that little notification bell so that you get reminded every time that we come to you with a fresh new video. So, with that little bit of admin out of the way, let's get right into what we're working on. Hey Emily, what's happening with your projects?
This is my Novice Cardigan Mohair edition by Petiteknit for our Danish Confection knit along. I'm still working on the yoke. We've done a few increase rounds, so they're getting bigger. They're 300 and something stitches.
Sleeve separation will come for you soon.
Yes. So yeah, I'm just working through that, and at home I've been working on my tessellated cardigan.
Yes.
So I finished the back and I'm on my first sleeve. So we are making progress.
And the tessellated has 3 balls of yarn to it, which is what's making it not uber portable, right?
Yeah. It's kind of painful. Although I have to say something about my tessellated. So
good.
I started a sleeve, so I joined the front and back of the shoulder, and they don't line up.
Oh.
And I looked closely at the pictures, and hers don't line up. So it's not designed to line up, which makes me sad because it's only like a 2-stitch repeat. So it wouldn't have been hard to make them line up.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know it's a small thing, but it's just like, this would have been so easy to not, like, because you have the rows of spin cycle and then the rows of mohair and that offset. And I don't know if it's like a structural thing because of but I'm like, I doubt it would make any difference.
I don't think so. It's probably more of a thing where people, like, I can say a lot of grading stuff that I see that's like that is people are grading usually under either A, an expedient circumstance where they have a timeline, or B, I hate to say this, everybody, most of us designers use standardized grading blocks for most of our shapes, and so we just work to stitch counts, and if you're not thinking about the stitch repeat inside of the stitch count, then you may not correct for that properly.
But then, like, even Andrea's doesn't, so it's not like it did on one and then...
No, I think that's what I'm saying, is if you're just working to stitch counts and you're not considering the repeat. For example, Captain Crazy, that's me, has a design called the Catharsis pullover. On the Catharsis pullover, when you knit it, no matter what size you knit, the cables on the front and the back break down at the same point on purpose, so they stop working. And it's not an accident. I told you to start on a specific row so that no matter where you are when you get to the shoulders, the front and the back line up. That's the whole point of how I built it. And if you're ever really bored in here one day, if you crack out that Catharsis cardigan that's hanging over there, you'll find out that the short row color work at the shoulders is perfectly aligned. Because again, Captain Crazy right here.
Yeah.
But I was inspired by none other than Jared Flood for this purpose, because I knit a Timberline a long, long time ago, and his cable's perfectly lined up, and I was like, damn, Jared.
I just want to check, because my vest is over here.
Oh!
And I don't remember if this one...
Let the investigation begin. No, they don't line up on that one either.
And on this one, you do a normal seam, but on the cardigan, it's exposed, which I don't love, because it looks a bit messy, and I'm having slight regrets that I did it that way.
How far down into the sleeve are we? Like, are you still at pull back?
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
And it creates like this ridge at the sleeve as well, like it's raised up. I don't love it, but I'm hoping it'll calm down a bit when it's blocked. But yeah, it's just like, it seems like it would be so easy. Not that I know, but on some things, like, yes, it gets too hard but this is a tiny little 2-stitch.
I don't agree. as a designer, I don't agree. I don't think it's ever too hard to put the time and thought into the things that you make. I mean, you typeset most of my patterns, and I think that no one is better suited to identify how Captain Crazy I am about everything. But I mean, you can say, I think with a fair degree of confidence, that a lot of my patterns are broken down into the very rows that you have to work to make them so that everything does align no matter what, right? Like, it's an option, but it does take a lot of time. And if you're trying to be productive, or if it's not something that you value as a knitter, it might not be something that ends up in your final edit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big lesson there. Well, I'm excited to see it done and to witness your twin set, your tessellated twin set, especially once you finish the socks, I'm assuming, that are going to get cast on. It's going to be amazing. A whole tessellated ensemble. Let's all work together to pressure Emily into making the tessellated socks so the rest of us don't have to. Great. So I am also working on 2 separate Danish confections. One that started off its life as a Petiteknit pattern and very quickly went sideways and then went further sideways, and I'm now no longer referring to it as the Petiteknit pattern because it officially has nothing in common with it. Not the construction, not the stitch counts. They're definitely both brioche, and I didn't even use the correct yarn combination. So it is now just brioche pullover. I would number it or something because that sounds fun, but there's someone else who already does that. So here is the backity back. That's the right side. Luckily they're reversible. Yeah, that's the right side. There's the back. Ta-da, it's green. And there's the front.
Okay.
Also green.
Now, are the sleeves also going to be green?
Yes, strangely. Although I did run out of mohair, and I did have to, this is embarrassing, I'm going to admit it on camera. I had to buy more mohair from another yarn shop because our mohair will take too long to get here for me to finish this on time. Yikes, even. But yes, I am super, super in love. So this is a brioche pullover that is now going to get turned into a pattern because I went way too far down a rabbit hole. And I'm doing this with 2 strands of silk mohair and 1 strand of Tvinni on a 5mm needle in 1 color brioche. I'm really loving it. I'm going to start the sleeves when I get home tonight because I now know that there's more yarn on the way, but I figured in the meantime I should keep working on London. Now, before I move on, I will say, I cannot believe this, but holding 3 strands of yarn together to knit brioche was easier than trying to knit brioche with 1 strand of bulky. I decided to test this by picking up some bulky weight yarn that a company has recently sent me and swatching for this self-same pullover to see if I would enjoy this process. You know, the silk mohair is really light in comparative to a bulky weight yarn of the same weight, and I think one of the big things I've discovered for myself that I think might be one of the reasons a big contributing factor to why we all love this so much, is I can just knit for hours and hours and hours because the project itself is so light and the yarn when you're pulling on it is so light. Like, there's no resistance to it. It's so easy to knit with, and it just makes this cloud of warmth. This one, Windy, got a really great steam block thanks to the wonderful Mohair and is sitting even better now. I'm thrilled, and I cannot wait to get this guy done and this one done, and then I'm just gonna have a fluffy Danish wardrobe now. And you know what? As I said very boldly last week, I'm very glad that I was so wrong. Very, very glad, because it turns out that I absolutely love this stuff. I am wild for the Jensen. So yeah, and so this is my London pullover, also by Helga Isager. Yes, her and I are having a bit of a love affair. So I knit the XL again, the biggest size. I think it's going to be just right. It's going to be roomy and light. I don't know about the rest of you, but this marl that's come out on it and the reverse stockinette looks so beautiful to me. Yeah. And I'm just pumped. I'm doing the shoulder join right now, which is joined in an unconventional method using a rib. It has a very similar construction to this guy, but in reverse, weirdly, which is kind of super fun to work through, I have to admit. Yet again, the swatch instructions were 5 pages and the pattern was approximately 5 pages. And I did have to, well, I swatched for gauge. I did not swatch the way that the pattern said. And so I did have to go back and read the pattern to understand something in it. Read the swatch to understand the pattern, because you alternate on this bind off. So here's a fun one. To correct, and I double checked she's right, she's actually done the math. To correct for the row gauge to stitch gauge differential on this one, it's actually roughly 2/3. So what you do is you alternate between binding off 1 stitch on the shoulder and 2 stitches. So you go 1, 1, 2, 2, and then you repeat 1, 1, 2, 2 the whole way up. And I don't know why I find this so novel, but I really, the exact opposite, I guess, of what we were just talking about. She's really clearly thought through and compensated for all of these things, and everything just lines up. Like when you do this portion, I'm gonna attempt to show you guys on camera, but I'm gonna show Emily first. When you do this portion, the side decorative slip stitch seamlessly turns into the bind off stitch for the shoulder. Like it just turns a right corner, which is really, really cool. I'm gonna try to cover our faces and hold this up close so you can see this little shoulder rib detail. I know it's attached to 17 things, but hopefully that gave you guys a little clarity and zoom in on what we're talking about. But I am loving this, and I do have to admit this bottom up seamless construction I find a lot less distressing than the top down option. And as I keep saying and recognizing about these patterns, I will say again that the body on this particular one could have more sizing options, but the one thing that we cannot fault them for is sleeve sizing. So we had a little whoopsie poopsie, and the camera very unhelpfully stopped recording.
Yes.
So we're gonna regroup, and Emily is going to attempt to regurgitate her sleeve information, which was very, very helpful. So you guys will find in the previous little segment, just finished discussing the shoulder joining and the construction of this, and the fact that I love the sleeves. What's going on with your tessellated sleeve? Because it was actually really useful information.
So, in my size, the decreases, you're supposed to do 20 decreases every 2 centimeters, which is an aggressive amount of decreases, especially in this section. Like, I've done like 6 or 7, but because they're so close together, it's just, I felt like it was too much. And I went through a bunch of my other patterns and sort of tried to compare the numbers.
Well, because you do also have a pretty much perfect comparison in your
press flowers.
Press flowers, thank you.
Yes, because that is also mosaic in the same weight yarn. But that one is quite a lot wider all the way down, whereas this one does taper more. So I've stopped doing the decreases about here, and I'm just going to do them when I get more down to my wrist. Because I think it'll be, I don't want to rely on it to block out, because I think it will give a little bit, but it fits at the moment, and I don't want it to be tight. So I don't, especially in this part of my arm, I don't want it to be tight.
It's uncomfortable, and I find, and I did state this in our last one, and I'm going to say it to all of you at home, if you do need to rely on something blocking out, it's always best when swatching to note your unblocked gauge and your blocked gauge, so that way we know the difference between them, and you don't end up with sweater surprise.
But also on a sleeve, even if you have done a swatch, right, there's multiple things,
so many factors
attaching to it. So I didn't want to,
And more ease is a lot less of a problem than less ease.
Exactly. So I was like, I'm just gonna, and when I do decreases, I always put a stitch marker in, so I'll be able to easily see when I do the second sleeve.
Perfect. And make them align.
So that was my sleeve chat on my test sleeve.
Oh, so good. Now I believe at this portion of our previous video is when we realized that it's time to show you all of the new stuff.
Yes.
Pew, pew, pew. So, I will have no problem recapturing my enthusiasm because I'm quite pleased, but I think the good news is we can now edit this chat down because I babbled previously. So, we have Ulysses in the house.
We do.
I have been working on this for quite a while. That's no secret. I've been talking about it for no end. So I ordered myself a sweater quantity of Ulysses in granite, and I went ahead and knit myself a sunset calypso to go with Emily's sunrise calypso, so we can be day and night. I pointed at the wrong person. Day and obviously night. Womp womp.
Sidebar, have you seen Kath and Kim?
No.
Oh, never mind.
Are we Kath and Kim?
No, but there's a day-night thing in there.
Oh, okay. People often refer to Kath and Kim to me, like, as in they talk about it, and most of the time I just kind of smile and nod. But
we might need to educate you.
I think this is probably the time for me to come out as somebody who pretty much exclusively watches sport.
I mean, they do some sport. There's netball.
That's not a sport, it's a game. I've been over this before in this country. Anyway, the good news is we have the 100% sport weight or 5-ply.
Sport, see look, segways.
Yeah.
All over the place.
We got it. So many segways today. We're going to open a scooter shop next week. No. Sport weight, 100% merino. Some of it's French, some of it's Portuguese. The black merino is Portuguese. The white merino is French. And blanc. C'est blanc. And we are fully obsessed.
Yes.
There is no bad color, and we have 20 of them. So, I mean, it was a really easy pick, as I said before, and we kind of agree on this one for sure. This is definitely, this guy, and this one especially, is the most Ethan Emily yarn. Like, I think this is, we finally, yeah, I think we finally hit our perfect yarn that we can both equally love and gush about, which is super exciting.
Hello.
Hi. I'm sorry, we're just in the middle of some filming.
Oh my
Are
gosh,
you here?
I'm
No, that's
so
okay.
sorry.
Are you here to browse, or did you need
I
anything
was
from
just
us?
actually having a wee nosy because I'd like to bring my mum here, so I just wanted to.
Oh, can
That's
we?
so nice. So this is all good. I can see from here that I would like to definitely bring her here. So,
Yeah, and we would love to see her.
Cool. You guys, what time are you guys open?
6.
10 till 6, Monday through Friday, 10 till 4 on the weekend.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. This is going to go well into the podcast, and I'm not editing it out.
Oh no.
Amazing. Thank you.
Go take care. Thank you.
What a genuinely joyful person. That
And
was
she
so
works
nice.
For
the
food
wholesale
service.
food service company. I'm feeling peckish. So, we're going to try to cover our faces and show you the colors. I feel like I should have taken 4 and you should have taken 3. I think we made a big mistake. Get behind there. Crouch down. So this is the beautiful new Ulysses that we have for you. As I keep wanting to say, as Emily said, because you said most of us in the previous version. Yeah, there's nothing not to love about it.
So it's 100% merino, which makes it super soft.
Yes.
So some other woolen spuns that I've tried have been too scratchy for me, but these ones are all good.
Do you think we could do a segment where you show off all the yarns you can't use called Too Scratchy for My Skin?
Sure.
Amazing.
Because I can tell as soon as I touch it. I'm like,
Literally,
throw that across the room.
it's like some sort. And for a while, I was I kept ordering yarns and being like, this one, and she was like, ah, and I was like, no, I find it really soft, and she was like, it is not soft. You're on drugs. Sometimes true.
Yes.
But yes.
And it has, I think we were talking, I can't remember now if we've already reset this.
We'll find
about
out.
it having heathered colours.
Yes. So you're right. It has a beautiful heather tweed
This
effect.
one especially, yeah, those ones you can really see. I'm hiding.
Yes, so those two especially. I feel like you handled this to me as an attack.
I did.
The Brillade. Cruel. Vicious and cruel of you. The
Well,
colors...
this was your attack on me. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually ordered several attacks on you. That's just the one that landed. Because I thought that one would also be a successful attack on Emily, to be honest. Because it looks way purpler on the internet.
See, you said that before, and I don't
know.
understand, because it's teal.
It's very much teal. Like, I'm staring
I was
at
like,
it, and
how
I'm
is
like,
this
it's so
purple?
clearly teal. What was I thinking? Anyway, I
Yeah.
do love the color names. They are all in French. So we've got cacao, brillade, aubépine, iroise, émeraude. What is that one? Why can I not remember? Oh, gruyère. Not gruyère. Gruyère is the cheese. Gruyère is the other. And genet.
We did have it because I was like, why is this named after cheese? It's purple.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not. It's not. So yes, so Ulysses is in the house. I have a feeling that Emily's about to finish 2 projects, and
I'm really trying to get my teeth like.
no, I know, and then I have a feeling you're gonna slip and fall into some Ulysses.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see what happens.
But I also have other things.
I know.
There's too many.
Oh, it's gonna get even worse next week.
Yeah, it really is.
Literally. I'm really dialing it up here.
Yeah.
Speaking of making it worse, hey Emily, what other stuff do you have next to you?
Really pretty stuff. It's not fair.
Some of my finest work yet.
Well, I have a small Danish selection first.
Oh.
While we're still Danish.
Oh yes, let us discuss.
Not that Ulysses is Danish, but
No, the Ulysses
European.
is stunningly French.
we got some more colours,
Yes,
and
we did.
especially this one. I mean, I'm upset.
What do you mean?
This is
wait till
colour
you-
17.
Just wait till you see what I just did. She's going to be so mad.
Of the other top-up colours that we got. So we got some more mohair and some more tweed and more alpaca too.
Alpaca too, yes. And in the next restock, we have a restock coming of more mohair.
Just always mohair.
Always mohair. More mohair, more colors. I think I've added 5 new colors of mohair this time, on top of reordering all the ones that we were out of. And by the time I was finished, I was like, oh, the box is almost full. In my head, I was like...
mohair as well. That's
an
achievement.
Literally, in my head, I was like, oh, great, I'll be able to do this, and then I'll be able to order all the colors of Alpaca 3. Wrong.
Incorrect.
So wildly incorrect. In the next order, we also have some Tvinni coming, including a color that they just released that I cannot wait to see Emily's face when it comes in. I am very excited. If it looks at all what it looks like on the internet.
Teal or purple?
Nope. And well, we did get a huge selection of the tweed. We've got great stuff going on. So if you're still hesitant or on the fence about your Danish Confection knit-along, get off that fence. Dial up a Petiteknit pattern. There's advice we never thought I'd be giving. And jump in with us. And if you need help reworking your Petiteknit pattern size-wise, reworking it to knit it flat, anything like that, the place to go is definitely the Flock Online. And we're getting those answers and stuff out for people so that you have a bigger, better resource for your knitting.
I was going to add as well with the Isager tweed, it matches the gauge of the Kate Davies tweed.
It does.
So, is it called?
Malarkey tweed.
Yeah. So I was looking at the powder mill or something.
Oh yeah.
Which is really cool, which is done in that yarn. So they're an easy substitute.
Should we also tell the other dark thing? The fact that it's the same gauge as another particular designer's work? Mademoiselle Marie Wallen.
Oh yes. I was like, who are you talking about? Of course. Who else?
Yeah. No, it's also the same gauge as the Marie Wallen stuff. Sorry guys, I've just made a small boo-boo and I'm trying to figure out if I can fix it without undoing the whole row.
While he's doing that, I'll pick up the other pretty stuff.
Yes, you pick that up.
I literally bought all of them because I couldn't choose which children to leave behind.
There was no, this is... Okay, so we created yet another Sophie's Choice moment, and I thought to myself that I was going to have all the restraint in the world and not take any sock yarn home.
And then you saw this one. Am I right?
Yeah, then I saw that one. Well, no, I took 2 because I couldn't decide.
This one?
Yeah, I just couldn't. I tried to make myself choose, and I started to get upset, and then I was like, this is my yarn, so I just took what I wanted.
Do you know what else I've been doing, which is not helpful, but it is a lot of them make fades.
Oh no, I didn't think of that. And you could break them up with the mini skeins for stripes. So, if any of you have been considering knitting Speckle and Pop by Stephen West, turns out we unintentionally got Speckle and Pop kits.
Or maybe that way.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I was a bit upset when I discovered that because I was like, damn it.
I'm gonna use my giant monster hands to help because I'm gonna hold them the way that they've been displayed, not the way that I would have preferred to.
The label's upside down, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
We could change
that. Yes.
Are you gonna hold all of them?
On the weekend, no. I can do 5. I can do 5. You do 3, and we'll do a full array, and we'll hide our faces behind it.
So they're named, these are from Circus Tonic Handmade in Australia.
And they're all Greek gods.
And they are our Dyer of the Month. They are 75% superwash, 25% nylon, 425 meters. So that's a pretty decent...
That's just in the 100 gram skein.
Yeah.
Then there's additional meterage in your mini skein. They're ginormous.
Yeah, so you have heaps.
And the yarn feels fantastic for socks. I have to admit, like I'm really in love. I wound one of mine already. It's sitting there.
Really cool.
Okay, so I have to admit, I would not wear this. However, this is my favorite set.
Yeah.
The warm, rich tones, the bright pop of orange, she just nailed it. And I guess that this is a good time. Well, these ones will never be back to come out of the closet as the fact that we're also going to be stocking Circus Tonic going forward.
Exciting.
But to get more Circus Tonic, we need to sell you this Circus Tonic.
Which is going to be really hard because it's so
hard. Yeah, no, honestly, I am madly, madly in love. Her dye style is really beautiful and wistful. Is that a strange thing to say about a yarn? No, it's wistful. Like, it feels like this really great change of pace. And I must admit, the dopa knitting is working. So recently, not recently, for the last, okay, that coincides with something else. For the last 4 years, I've been pretty miserable about my knitting. It's like a well-known fact about me if you're a friend of mine who knits. And over the past 2 months, I think I've really managed to change that. And it's been a lot of effort and trying to figure out what I was still interested in knitting. And I'll be very, very blunt, feeling very much like the industry had moved on and that my time in it was done. And I felt like that for months and months and months. But then I realized that I could approach this very, very differently. I listened to a seminar all about dopamine dressing, which is something I really struggle with, as I've recently reverted back to black, gray, neutral land, which is funny because I am inside a candy-colored kaleidoscope, deep inside. But I wanted to talk to you guys about knitting for the pure happiness of it, and what are the things that bring us joy, and how do we discover and find that? Experimentation. So it started off for me on this process, and this will be very different for the majority of you. As Emily has pointed out, not everyone has unlimited access to yarn the way I do. So not necessarily everybody can cast on 50 things and figure out which one is going to stick. Nor do I think casting on 50 things is a good idea. But I went back to some basics. My start in knitting was lace knitting, and I don't knit lace very often anymore. And I went back and I knit a little bit of lace, and I remembered that I really loved that. And then I got the Ulisse, which is a yarn type that I really love. Woolen spun, 100% wool yarns are probably my biggest passion in knitting. It's something I talk about a lot. I obviously have birthed a woolen spun brand that now is in the hands of someone else, and I've done a lot of other things involving woolen spun yarns over the years, and I still think that they are some of the most beautiful yarns that exist out there. But there's only so much woolen spun yarn, it turns out, and I decided to try to figure out what was going to make me really, really happy. So the experimentation went fairly swiftly into Mohairville. And this was not a smooth project. I had a lot of ups and downs with this one. And then in the end, as it all started to come together, I really fell in love with it. And it felt like a instantaneous switch where I realized that I am only motivated by the finished thing. Unlike a lot of other knitters that I encounter who are really excited about yarn or this or that, I love different yarns and I love them, but I'm a bit more of a yarn collector than I am a yarn knitter, to be honest. I have probably one of the more ridiculous stashes in the known world, and it's only going to get worse. Or better, depending on how you look at it. But so sock knitting is where we're ending up. And the thing is, it turns out that I still love knitting socks. And the great part about not having knit a lot of socks in the past is there's so many new to me sock yarns still. And this Dyer of the Month thing literally started as a sales pitch for the rest of you and has turned into possibly the thing that's making me the happiest. And I'm really glad that we're experimenting and taking risks and doing new things and not being afraid of being wrong in the past and reaching out to try to harness our personal joy and incorporate that into our work, which is a really big change from how we worked previously. And I'm really proud of us for making that change this year in the past month. So I hope all of you are doing some dopa knitting. And if you're not, Emily here is definitely the queen of dopa knitting. She will find the project that will absolutely make her eyes pop and sing before she casts it on, unlike this guy who's like, this sample will be knit.
There is a new Crazy Cat Lady sweater.
Of course there is. So if you need help with your dopa knitting, come in and see us, because it is gray and miserable in Christchurch and will be all week, and tough stuff has been really tough and awful lately, and our knitting should be a pleasure, a break, and an indulgence in sensuality. So for your various dopa knitting needs, come and see the two of us. You might end up with two very different things, because with this guy, it's definitely going to end up being a silk mohair, silk brioche explosion of joy. And with this one, she will help you find what you actually want in it. And those are two very different skills. Right? Boom.
Especially if it has cats on. I'm 100%
Yeah, if you need help finding the perfect jumper that has a cat on it or a ruffle.
Or a poodle. I've got a list. I've got a bundle.
Well, everyone, I think Emily's poodle bundle is the place to leave it for today. Thank you all for coming. Yep, that's it. I've got nothing else. Bye!